Well, a happy and good Friday, the 15th of March, 2024 to you. I am Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This is your Friday Status Chat, a video blog of rather random stuff that may or may not have any relevance whatsoever to the economy or the world at large, including, of course, real estate. So let's get into one thing that kind of touches on all of them, although it's not quite so apparent unless you look for it, but here it is. If you like this content, please go to CallDelToSell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you when each Friday's blog has been uploaded. Thank you. Well, this brings up a sore point for me is when you see things like in our local community, because we get a lot of people that are moving out of the areas that they were from and come to ours. And I've even heard a random few that say, well, we'll just get in there and then we'll change it the way we want. Well, in this case, a sore spot is when someone says so coldly, and I think inappropriately say, don't California our Tennessee. All people have inalienable rights, and they have the right to pursue happiness. However, I think it was Einstein who was credited with insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. Now, I may have put a few extra overs in there, but you get the idea. So I know in my personal life, sometimes the heart will lead to a location that the mind, if you would listen to it ahead of time, would not take you. That's why I always say think first, feel second, because emotions are stronger than reality, than facts. And if we don't think first and feel second, we'll never have both of those pieces together. We'll stop at the stronger one. And I could quote Spinoza here, which says, emotion, this is paraphrasing, emotion will only give rise to a stronger emotion. He didn't say logic. Now, how long ago did Spinoza live and die? Long time ago. So this is not a new thing because there are no new things under the sun. It's all there. All we have to do is look. So I'm going to bring up an article that we're going to look at right now, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm not going to really do a lot of comment on it. I'll just pick out just a few of the golden points that we should pay attention to. All right, here is today's article from the Daily Mail. This is a British publication. It was, this is Friday the 15th, although I've seen this earlier this week, and I wanted to save it for you. The headline on this, and I will give credit to the author, it says that is Rachel Bowman for Daily Mail, and this was on 11 March 2024, updated the 12th. Pittsburgh police say they will no longer respond to calls that are not in progress emergencies amid staffing shortage. Pittsburgh police announced this week that they will no longer respond to calls that are not in progress emergency in the early morning hours. Instead, lower priority calls will get sent to a telephone reporting service. There's an old 2A Second Amendment advocate saying that when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, except in Pennsylvania, as we'll see. Because I think even it went to the Supreme Court that said law enforcement's job isn't to prevent crime, but to be there afterwards, in the aftermath. So they have no duty to protect, according, I believe, the Supreme Court of the United States, because it went to a negligence clause or charge against a group, and they said, well, they didn't come, they didn't help. Well, we think of police as to protect and to serve, but apparently that's not what the law says. Let's get back to it. So what this is basically saying is exactly that. The police won't be coming to your emergency unless they believe it's an emergency, and it gets even more ludicrous than that. And they've even told the public, the criminals in the public, the would-be, I don't know what you want to call it, predators, the hours that the police aren't going to be there. And, it's going to take, let me ask you, we'll come to it in just a second. How annoying is it? We understand it's actually there for someone's benefit, this second verification where you'll log into your account and it'll say, let me send you a text to the telephone on record so that we can see if, in fact, that's really you trying to hack into your account. And that seems logical, so we begrudgingly do that. Well, Philadelphia police are going to do something like that as well. You got to have some sort of blood-curdling scream, gunshots, or something like that, because they're going to require a second verification. Otherwise, between 3 and 7 in the morning, you're going to voicemail. You're going to an answering service. How about that? You wouldn't believe it if I didn't tell you. But right there it is. That's what they're talking about. Now, scroll down a little bit for you. The Pittsburgh Police Bureau chief has made a major change to its operation as it battles staffing shortage, including no longer responding to in-progress emergencies and limiting the number of officers on night shift. So maybe I'm just being illogical in this, maybe a little bit irresponsible to believe that the solution is to hire more officers. And if you can't hire more officers, figure out why you can't attract new officers and fix that. It's sort of like if you get lung cancer, the cancer is the problem, but you need to figure out what caused the lung cancer so that you can, if we can get past this rough spot, fix it so it doesn't happen again. But remember, this is one of the cities that was all over defunding the police. Now, I personally support my police department. I think they do good. Are there some bad actors? Are they perfect? No, they're just human beings like the rest of us. They want to go home, see their kids, and live long enough to perhaps say the last goodbye to their parents, that sort of thing. They're human beings. They should be treated like human beings. So there's something wrong in Philadelphia. What is it? So here, the first part of this, they whine a little bit about not having police officers, and their solution to not having police officers is, as he said, in the early morning hours when there are the lowest amount of calls, and from 3 to 7. Well, let's just go ahead and tell our people who want to prey on us when they're not going to get a cop. And remember, Philadelphia is also against you with your self-protection. So they believe that taking your guns away is somehow going to stop crime, instead of just basically telling people where they can go get free food to nosh on. Data says that from 3 to 7 a.m. we had 8% of our call volume, yet we had 33% of our personnel working during this period of time. Again, I look at it and say, well, that may be. So if you're succeeding with better crime deterrence, just make those deterrents go away and see if you don't have an increase in crime. And it goes ahead and talks down. I'm going to skip through here a little bit because this is one of those things that kind of sticks in my craw. I don't understand how people cannot see this and be totally outraged. Well, let me see. Is that the end of our call? The read more, I believe. Let's click this. So I'm going to interrupt this just momentarily to answer a question. Well, how big is Pittsburgh? And we see, according to this, we see that the population is in fact declining. And, you're welcome here. You're welcome to move here and to set up a life that you can feel reasonably free, that you're going to get the support you need when you need it in an emergency, and that you have a right to at least defend yourself if someone's coming in your house late at night, and it happens to be between the hours of 3 and 7 a.m., and you really just don't have time to go through the first call and then the call back and the police verification, because if that door comes open while you're waiting for that next escalation to see if the answering service is actually going to pass on that to your community person at the police department late at night, it'd be good to know. So we can see that there are a growing number of people that have had enough of this kind of stuff. So we have about 384,000, from memory, of course, in Rutherford County. So in this one city alone, they have nearly as many people in this one city that we have countywide in Rutherford County. So that link that I was fishing out takes us to here. Let me roll this up and give credit where credit's due. This is from Kayla Gunderson. She's a reporter. It was February 23, 24. Pittsburgh Police Chief announces violent crime initiative, 4-day work week, longer shifts. Okay, so some of this is rehash of what we've already talked about. It says, for the first time, we're going to use data to inform our decision on where patrol resources should be dedicated. Okay, I'm all for data. Here's our 3 to 7. Okay, well, that's one of our lowest hours. So it's like closing your restaurant because you only have a few walk-ins late at night. If we did that, Waffle House would have been out of business years ago. So the data, he talks about the data tries to justify this nonsense. Burglar alarms will require a second confirmation of a break-in before an officer responds. So if somebody breaks into your house, sets off your alarm, Police are not going to ring your phone. They're not going to come talk to you. You have to call in as a second thing and say, yes, there's really somebody who just kicked in my door and set off the door switch. And by the way, I realize I shouldn't shoot at this person who's now just invaded my home uninvited between the hours of 3 and 7 a.m. when you have no cops, because whatever your systemic issue is in Pittsburgh that causes that. It says, it is not true that we won't respond to alarms. It's that we're going to require there be a second verification, a second authentication factor, such as it's just not at the front door. There's an interior motion, there's a video, there's audio, there's a glass break. So what is that expression that I just quoted? When seconds count, the police are minutes away, unless it's Philadelphia, in which case it could be 30 minutes or more while they go through the answering machine, and we don't use beepers anymore, but we get the call out and somebody verifies it. How long do you have when that door has been kicked in and you have a brood of violent criminals at your door? And of course, you don't have to worry about self-protection because you have the police and they're going to fix it. All right. We have a division that focuses solely on that type of crime, and in that we are holding those individuals that are committing gun violence in our city accountable. You see, here we have it, a focus on this term that is often used for political purpose, gun violence. We don't have gun violence any more than we have toaster abuse or fork abuse. The fork doesn't do anything. The toaster doesn't do anything but sit there dead on the counter until you call on it to do something. Now, if you do something wrong with it, like try to broil a steak in your toaster, why, that's not the toaster's fault. That's something else's fault, and we call those something else's human. We call that human. We have a human issue, not an object issue. So they're gonna stick to their gun violence problem, which requires you to be defenseless in your home, and now they're shutting down the police department at 3 to 7 a.m. And if somebody happens to kick in your door, you better hope that motion detector doesn't have lag through the internet to get to the reporting station, who then relays it to the police answering service, who then will go, oh, well, we do have our two-factor verification, or somebody else calls in, we've heard gunshots in your house. Of course, let's hope that you're not the recipient of that, and let's hope that you stay safe in your home. I think you have a right to do that. And, there's another old expression that dates back to our founding that says we get the government that we deserve. If this is what you want, you already have it in multiple places. But if you want something different, evaluate your community, your target community, for various things that are important to you. And it's more than just whether or not you have a dog park in your neighborhood, close within walking distance, or we have EV charging stations. There are so many more important things that will affect the quality of your life, such as people talk about healthcare. Great. Well, how long does it take to get an ambulance to your house? What does it take to get these emergency services to you? If your house catches on fire, how well is your fire department supported? How well is your police department enforced? How rampant are drugs in your neighborhood? These are all things that you have to research on your own. All right, I have one more screen that we'll look at. It uses Google is what I use. You'll see that in the corner, but you use Bing or Duck or anything else that you might want to do. Let's look right over here. I typed in Philadelphia murder rate ranking. Let's just see, since we're not going to staff police with 3 to 7 a.m. because it's just not, I guess life is not important between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning, because they have a staffing problem created by something else. And so rather than fixing the problem, they'll just not put any police on there. What is that? That's fine. They've taken your guns away so that there's absolutely no reason why you should have violent crime 3 to 7 a.m. But you can call the answering machine. So what does it say? Philadelphia has the highest murder rate per capita among the 10 largest cities. Now, this was in 2021. Maybe something miraculous other than defund the police. Maybe defund the police worked. And we've actually lowered that. Here we have one that kind of suggested homicides dropped by over 10%. Okay, what about breaking into cars and other violent crime that didn't necessarily affect the overall murder rate? If you're looking to move into an area, I suggest that you look into crime maps and stats in your area, in your target area, so that you can see where the hot spots are. You can always ask your person about that. but it's really your responsibility. If you want to look at a particular area, we can try to advise you as best we can, but the data is out there. The onus is on you. We'll try to assist you in making the best decision you possibly can. I think it was, if I haven't said this before, I think it was in our founding that one of our founding fathers, which I'm sorry to use that patriarchal term, but our founding fathers said, you get the government you deserve. If you vote for this kind of stuff, don't be surprised if they deliver that kind of stuff. So you're welcome to come here. We'll help you as best you can build the best life you can in future from this day forward. We can't control what's happened before. We can only control what is in our front view, our rear view mirror, this behind us. So let's wrap this up. Hello, I'm Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel, CallDelToSell. That's 1 L and Del, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout, and then call me and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. All right, well, I have today's numbers. We'll get to them. But if you'll permit me to tell the story, I knew a lady one time, and she had a lot of dogs. She was by herself, a normal thing that we can see any of us doing, whether we cats or dogs, we fill in, fill our rescue need to take care of helpless animals. But her house reeked of dogs, and it was filthy, and there was messes around that didn't get completely cleaned up. And this person really wanted to move, and she did. She moved from the place with the bad carpets and all that. And by the way, just as a point, if you have dogs and have cats or smoke cigars or cigarettes or use really spicy foods or some spices that turn people off, these it's not just the way something looks. It really does have a lot to do with how things smell sometimes. But she was a good-hearted person, bless her heart. I'm not picking on her, and I'm not going to identify her. But then she moved to a brand new house that didn't have those things. And inside of 6 months, because she wouldn't address some of the causes of how something happened that way, it was in the same position that she was in previously. So I'm a human being. I think you're a human being. At some point, we have to look and say, something needs to change, and sometimes that something's me. I know I've faced those issues in the past and probably will in the future. Even though I have years now and decades of wisdom that should make it easier, sometimes it's not so easy to turn over a new leaf or to change the way we look at things. But anyway, I have today's note. I just want you to know I'm not bashing Philadelphia or anything else. I'm just saying an honest look at how things are and an evaluation that, in fact, actions do have consequences. Are you able to be more independent, take care of yourself, or less able to be independent, take care of yourself? And then who are you relying on to help you? Are those peoples or systems, are they actually helping you or not? I mean, math doesn't lie, which is my old engineer and MBA self coming into it. Math doesn't lie. It may have biases in some of the reporting of the information, but the truth is the truth. It is what it is. All right, so last week, Dean, thank you for announcing the segment here. 3/8 of 24, we had 18,311 opportunities last week, and it did increase a little bit. We had 4,101 in the under contract still holding ons, and that ratio between the two of them remained unchanged at the integer level at 22%. Now this week, 3/15/24, we have 18,383 in our opportunities. That's up just a little bit. Thank you for announcing that one too. Thank you. I really do appreciate your help. 4219 were the under contracts still showing, the ones they're holding on to, and the integer ratio remained unchanged again for the second week or the third week. It's been at 22%, the ratio between the two. So we appreciate you watching. I'm interested to find out what your opinions are, if you think I'm just some crazy old nutter, or if this makes sense, or if senses and sensibilities have somehow been insulted or whatever. Give me some feedback, because I'm just trying my best to grow in life and to find the things that don't work out so that I don't keep stumbling over the same bricks in the road, okay? That's my goal in life, and I would like to think that other people do the same things too. But after you've tried something for long enough and it doesn't work, why not try something a little bit different? And maybe you need to find a different place to do that in which case Tennessee, we welcome you. We want people to come and be part of our world. Share your experiences, share your life, share who you are, and we'll do the same. And we'll show you why we believe that Tennessee is a great state to live in. I got 49 other choices I could live in, but I choose to live in Tennessee because I believe it is a great state to live in. No, we're not perfect. We have some things we got to fix or work on or whatever, but what state doesn't? So we appreciate you watching. We wish you a good weekend, and I'll look to hear from you. Call me. The phone works. We can text. We can do all kinds of things. We can just start just getting to know one another. Appreciate your patience. Thank you.